Once you have your site set up, optimized the way you want it, and placed on a live server, one really neat tool that can help you gauge the performance of your site is Google's Pagespeed Insights. The best way to find this page is just to do a Google search for Google Pagespeed Insights. And on this page, you can enter any URL, and Pagespeed Insights will analyze that page, and after a few seconds, give you a report on the performance of that page. So Drupal.org here doesn't get a great score on mobile. Notice it's split into mobile and desktop. Desktop does a little bit better. The cool thing about Pagespeed Insights is it doesn't just give you a score, but it tells you what things you're doing that it recommends you fix. And it usually gives you pretty good ideas on what you can do to fix those things. It also tells you things that you're doing particularly well. Now, it's important to note that you can really get lost in a rabbit hole on this if you try to fix every single individual thing. It's best to view these as suggestions, just as it says right here. These aren't necessarily things that are wrong a lot of the time. It's things that Google is saying, okay, I see this. You could do this a little bit better performance-wise. You'll often come across suggestions here that may indeed speed up the site if you were to make the changes that they suggest. But there are also cases where doing so would lead to a dip in the user experience and would damage that somewhat. The user experience should always take precedence over the performance of a site, especially if your site is already performing pretty well. So keep that in mind. Don't use this as a strict guideline of fix everything, but rather suggestions that doing these things, if they make sense for your website, will speed the website up. So that being said, you shouldn't ever really aim for 100 out of 100. Very rarely is that going to happen. And what I always like to use as an example to demonstrate this is Google.com. If we analyze Google itself, you'll see that not even Google gets 100 out of 100. And on mobile, it doesn't even get that great of a score. So just keep that in mind. You're not aiming for a perfect score here. You're using this to see what things you might be able to do a little bit better. Also, one final note is that the URL you place in here, whether it's google.com, drupal.org, whatever, Pagespeed Insights is only analyzing that one individual page. So when we typed in drupal.org, Pagespeed Insights is only analyzing the homepage, drupal.org. So when you're testing your site out, you might want to try URLs for a few different content types, maybe some views, some basic pages, some things like that, along with your homepage. Because often different areas of your site are going to be set up slightly differently and may have a different performance. So you could be doing one type of page great, your homepage might be awesome, but maybe you have a view or a certain type of content that's struggling a little bit that you still need to address.